Hi, welcome to Fireflow. All you'll need today is a couple of blocks and a couple of cushions. I've got more props behind me. That's just to give me a little bit more support at the beginning of class because I'm not going to go flat on my back. But assuming that you're probably not pregnant, then on our backs is where we're going to start. So finding your way down onto your back when you're ready, I'm just going to set myself up a little support. And getting yourself into a comfortable place so you can have either arms out to the sides, arms to your hands to your belly, whatever feels natural, whatever feels good. And allowing yourself to have a moment to experience the stillness in your body. What do you notice as you breathe in and out? What's going on for you with your inhales and exhales? Notice how your body is feeling today, what you're bringing to the mat on a physical level, if there are places where you've got tightness. Seeing if you can find a little bit of space in those areas. Notice what you're bringing to your mat emotionally and mentally today. How does that feel in your body? How does that impact your breath? Notice your breath, notice how it flows in and out of your body, notice the passage that it takes, notice how the body moves. Taking a few more breaths here at the beginning of your practice. Observing the body, observing the breath. Allowing yourself to tune in to the details of what's going on for you. Allowing yourself to experience all of the sensations that are going on in your body right now. On your next inhale, bringing the feet flat to the ground, bending the knees. And then opening up the knees to bring the soles of the feet together into Supta Baddha Konasana. So it might be that here you'd quite like to have a cushion or block underneath each thigh, underneath each knee. Or it may be that you feel very comfortable to be open without any support. So up to you here whether you'd like a bit of support. And your feet can be as close or as far away from your body as feels good. Taking a few breaths to experience the openness in the front of the body in this pose. Arms can stay down by the side, or they can be up and overhead in a kind of a diamond shape, so one hand, one palm inside the other. wherever feels what your body needs today. So really listening into your body during practice today, taking the variations that feel good for you. On your next inhale, hand underneath each knee, drawing the knees together and moving any cushions or blocks out of the way. And then lifting the right foot from the ground and bringing the right ankle onto the left thigh. So coming into a kind of a figure 4 position here. And seeing if you can really allow some openness through that right knee. So the right knee's moving away from the body. So if you notice that you're very tight in the hips and the knee's close, then keeping that left foot on the ground, maybe using the right hand to help draw the knee out a little bit. If you're feeling quite open today, you can lift the left foot from the ground and you can wrap the hands, interlace the fingers around the back of the thigh or around the shin. So taking a moment to come into the position that feels good for you. And still keeping that openness through the right knee. The right knee's moving away from the body. Seeing if you can keep the chest open, the shoulders drawing down towards the ground. And you can flex both feet here if you want to make this more active. So noticing the sensations that are going on, how your hips feel, where the tight areas might be. And then releasing the fingers if you interlace them, bringing the left foot down and bringing the right foot down. Coming on to the other side, lifting up the left foot and then opening up the knees so that the left ankle comes onto the right thigh. And again, you can have a little play around here, seeing how tight that hip is. You can use your left hand to press the knee away. If you'd like to, you can lift the right foot from the ground and interlace fingers either behind the thigh or behind the shin. Once you're there, still keeping that openness through the knee, opening through the chest, you can flex through the feet. And being curious about your body here. Does this hip feel tighter than the other one? Is there more space? So allowing yourself to explore what's going on in your body in the practice today. Noticing all of the feelings that come with each pose, all of the places that get opened up. Notice the places where you're tight. Notice the places where there's spaciousness. And see what it feels like to explore your body in that way. Releasing the fingers when you're ready, bringing the right foot down and left foot down. And then crossing the left leg over the right, not the right leg, left leg over the right. And then using the right hand to lower the knees down over to the right side. Opening up the left arm into a kind of a cactus shape and gaze over the left arm. So coming into a spinal twist. So this is where you can use cushions again if that feels more comfortable. If it feels like too big a twist to bring the legs all the way over, you can pop a cushion underneath the legs if you want. Inhaling, head to center, legs to center. Uncrossing the legs, and then we'll cross the other way. So this time it is the right leg over the left, and then grabbing hold of the legs with the left hand, you can guide them over. It may help to scoot your hips a little bit over to the right hand side first. It's up to you. Go with what feels good. in your body, and then opening up that right arm into a cactus and gaze over the right hand. So it might feel very different on one side to the other, having a little explore here. And then head comes to center, knees come to center, and uncurling the legs. From here, option to either come onto your side to come up to seated, or to rock and roll up to seated. So entirely up to you. If you're rolling up to seated, then the feet are coming up behind the head and then rolling up. So moving any props that you've got out of the way for the moment. Keeping your blocks handy to the side of your mat, just in case you want them later on. And moving on to hands and knees, all four position. So checking in that you've got a nice grounding here in your all fours position, really allowing yourself to press down through the hands, engaging through the shoulders, engaging through the core. And then tucking the toes under and pressing up and back into downward facing dog. So if this is your first downward dog of the day, feel free to take some nice pedals at the feet. You can keep the knees bent. So again, listening into what your body needs. This is a fire flow class, don't worry, we will work hard. But you know, allowing your body to settle into this and open up at the pace that feels good for it and what feels like what you need today. So sometimes when we've been practicing yoga for a while, we can feel like we've got to kind of blast into everything. So, you know, allowing yourself that time to kind of feel in, to explore today, to see what your body needs. As you inhale, rising up into the tiptoes, and then stepping, walking or floating, coming into halfway lift at the top of your mat. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling to rise up, rolling up through the spine, arms come out to the side and up overhead. And then exhaling back down into forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, hands by the feet, stepping or floating back through your version of chaturanga. So your knees can be up or down, or full chaturanga if that's good. I'm going to take a modification today. Inhaling, upward dog or cobra, and exhaling, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, rising up onto the toes, step, walk or float, coming into halfway lift. As you exhale, releasing forward fold. Inhale, taking that roll up through the spine, coming up to stand when you're ready. Arms reach up and overhead. And coming through once more, building some heat, exhaling into forward fold. Inhaling, finding halfway lift, really drawing the shoulders back and down. Exhale, hands by the feet, stepping or floating back through your version of chaturanga. Inhaling, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Really grounding down through the hands here, checking that your head's nice and relaxed. And then inhale, rising up onto the toes, step, walk or float, coming into halfway lift. Exhaling to forward fold. Inhaling to rise, rolling up through the spine, reaching up and overhead. Exhaling back down into forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, finding length through the spine, gaze down. Exhaling, hands by the feet, stepping back into plank or floating through chaturanga when you're ready. Inhaling, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Hopefully feeling a little bit warmer now, a little bit ready for practice. As you inhale, rising up into the tiptoes, stepping forward with the right foot and grounding down the back foot. As you inhale, rising up, warrior two. Bringing the right hand down to the ankle and then cutting the horizon with your left arm, coming into a variation of extended side angle, opening through the chest. As you inhale, coming back into a half bind reverse warrior. So hand comes behind the back, tucking into the hip crease, keeping a bend in that front leg. And then into warrior two. Lifting up the back heel, coming into high lunge, both arms forward. And then pressing off the back foot, we're going to come straight forward into chair pose. So keeping those knees bent and into chair. Tucking the lower ribs in, finding that length through the lower back. And then rising up when you're ready. Picking up the left foot from the ground and bringing the hands to prayer. We're going to flex the foot and open up into a figure four. So crossing the left ankle over the right leg. Inhale, reach up with the arms. And then exhale, lowering the hips, bending the knee, coming into almost like a chair pose, figure four. And then releasing that left foot, stepping back, high lunge. Totally okay to have a little wobble. Bringing the upper body over the hips, reaching tall. Exhale, cactus arms, lion's breath. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hands by the feet, stepping back into plank, coming through your version of chaturanga when you're ready. Inhaling, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Let's come through that on the other side, if I can remember what it all was. You may get away with skipping something. Inhale, rising up onto the toes, left foot forward in between the hands, back foot flat, warrior two. Left hand comes down to grab hold of the ankle and then sweeping that right arm forwards, cutting the horizon into your extended side angle. So palms down here, opening, broadening through the chest. Inhaling, finding your half bind reverse warrior. Hand comes behind the back, keeping the bend in the knee. And then returning to warrior two, picking up the back heel, finding your high lunge. From here, we're moving straight into that chair pose at the top of the mat when you're ready. So pushing off with the toes of the right foot forwards and into chair. Taking one more breath in chair, nice and strong through the legs. Maybe you sink down a little bit more. And then rising up. Bringing the hands to prayer when you're ready. Finding a little something to focus on. Grounding down through the left foot. Picking up the right foot and opening up into your figure four. Flexing through the right foot. Inhale, reaching the arms up. And lowering down into your chair. Taking a breath here, finding your balance, and then strong step back into your high lunge, lifting the upper body over the hips. Exhale, cactus arms, lion's breath. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hands by the feet, stepping back into plank, coming through your version of chaturanga when you're ready. Inhaling, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here, really letting the hips rise up as the chest sinks down, grounding down through all of the knuckles of the fingers, reaching down through the heels. Inhale, rising up into the tiptoes and stepping forward, coming to meet in your halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, rolling up to stand, reaching up high. Exhaling, taking one last vinyasa, coming into your forward fold. Inhaling, finding length in halfway lift. Exhale, hands by the feet, step, walk or float, coming through your version of Chaturanga, up to you, what feels good. And inhaling, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. One last big opening stretch and down dog. And then rolling forward to plank. Taking a breath here, holding steady in your plank. And lowering the knees down. So coming into an all fours position. And then bringing the knees together so that the thighs are together. And we're going to come into cow face pose from this position, just with the legs. So what you're going to do is bring the right knee, lift the right knee in the leg, and bring it behind the left knee. And then opening up the feet so that you leave a little bit of space in between. And beginning to walk back. Now, if you know you can comfortably get into this pose, you may just decide to come all the way back. If you're quite tight in the hips, this is where the blocks are handy. So you can pop a couple of blocks in between the feet, and then you can lower back onto the blocks. If even with the blocks there it doesn't feel particularly good, then feel free to keep the hands down and come forward a little bit. So up to you what feels best. So the knees are stacked over each other, but it doesn't matter if there's a gap in between the knees. So don't worry too much if one knee seems quite high. That's really normal and completely fine. But what you want is both hip bones grounded down if you have come to take a seat, either on the blocks or on the floor. If you know that it feels good to add the arms for you, you're welcome to add in the arms if you like. So if you'd like to have that opening with the arms, then left hand comes up, palm facing up. Reaching up, bending the elbow. So the hand comes down to the back. Right hand comes out to the side, palm facing backwards. And then bending the elbow, and maybe you take a bind with the hands. Or if you notice that to grab the hands, you've kind of got a bit of a folding forward thing going on, then grab hold of whatever shirt you're wearing and use that instead. So it's just an optional thing to add the arms. If you'd rather stay with hands on knees, then keep hands on knees if that feels better. So one more breath wherever you are. And then releasing the hands from here, coming into a little twist. So for you guys who are not pregnant, you're going to come into a twist to the left, so a closed twist. So you're going to bring your right hand onto the knee, left hand behind the body and twisting to the left. I'm going to take an open twist to the right. So these twists are great for detoxing the body. They're really good for digestion. So this pose is a great way to provide a bit of a detox at the end of class. And then inhale back to center. So if you have taken a seat on your blocks or on the floor, then you're walking your hands back forward again, same way that you came in, you're coming out. And then you're kind of releasing the legs, untucking them. Maybe you want to have a little kind of shake side to side. You might want to do a couple of little circles with the hips. You can take a downward dog if you want. You can kind of come forwards and open up the front of the hips. So take a couple of breaths to just intuitively move your body in the way that it needs, whatever that might be. And then we'll come back, bringing the legs together again. And this time it's going to be the left leg that lifts up. It's going to tuck behind the right knee. And then opening up the feet to the side to give you a little bit of space to come back in between. And it might feel completely different on this side, so come back really mindfully. So again, you've got your blocks there. You can use either one or both, or you can use cushions. If you want a little bit of height, you can also stay forward with the hands instead, if that feels better. So have a little, see what feels good. You know, the nice thing about having the blocks is that it just takes the pressure off the hips and the knees a little bit. Obviously, if at any point you get pain anywhere, then definitely come out of this pose, and you can just come into a nice seat instead for the twist. So it's up to you what feels good. So lowering down, finding a way into this pose. And if you'd like to add the arms, then it's right arm coming out, palm facing the sky. Lifting the arm up, bending at the elbow. And then left hand out to the side, palm backwards, bend in the elbow. And if you comfortably have a bind with the hands, then you can grab a bind. If you notice that to grab the hands, that this top elbow needs to come forward and there's a rounding in the spine, the whole point of this pose is to open up the body. So that elbow really needs to be pointing straight upwards. So then just grab hold of your top instead, and that'll give you the openness. The hands don't need to be together. Or as we did before, you can just bring hands to knees, focus on finding some length through the spine, and breathe into the tight hip work that we're doing instead. So there's a lot going on in this pose. So whatever it is that feels good for you. One more breath if you take in the arms with this pose as well. And then inhaling to release. An option to come into a twist again. So you're coming into a twist to the right this time. So left hand on the right knee, right hand behind the body, and closing the twist to the right. I'm going to come over to the left. So taking this closed twist, allowing a little detox of the body. You can take the twist as deep or as shallow as feels good. And maybe you're starting to notice now if there's one hip that's tighter than the other after having done all of this kind of hip opening work. And maybe noticing if this maybe feels a little easier, if this is a pose that you take often, having done that little warm up at the beginning. To kind of prep the hips and get them ready. Inhaling, finding your way back to center, and then bringing the hands back in front of the body, same way you came in, releasing the legs, and again, intuitively having that little kind of shuffle, that little move around. So it might be that you come up into a downward dog, it might be that you need to kind of lift a leg and open the hip. So this is all about beginning to really understand your body and what it needs. So yoga is a very individual practice, so making this individual for you. And then finding your way back to center to take a couple of cat-cows to finish off. So checking that you're all nicely aligned, hands underneath shoulders, knees under hips, spine drawn long. And then allowing yourself to inhale, create a bit of space in your cow. And exhale, rounding, tucking, and drawing the core up towards the back of the body. One more time, coming through, so whatever's feeling good. And then finding your way back to center. From here, coming into Shavasana. So it may be that you'd like to take Shavasana in child's pose, maybe a supported child's pose with your cushions. Or it might be that you prefer to lie down on your back. So whichever one feels really good for you today, whichever one feels like what your body needs. Getting yourself really nice and cozy and allowing your eyes to close when you get there. And having a little feel into how your body is feeling now at the end of class. Just like you did at the beginning, what are those tight areas? Is there a little bit of space in there now? Noticing what's going on for you, noticing the areas that maybe there is more openness. Can you allow your body to let go and be heavy? Can you allow your body to sink down into the earth, whichever position it's in? Notice the sensations in your body. Notice the feeling of heaviness. And allow yourself to surrender to that feeling. Sometimes the hardest bit of practice is the still, quiet part at the end. Especially if you're a doer, if you like to always be busy. Notice what it feels like to be still. Notice what it feels like to let go. Taking a few minutes here in Shavasana, completing your practice, allowing your body to rest. I really encourage you to stay here for a good few more minutes, allowing this pose to nourish your body. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.